I was volunteering with a home construction program in Dianne, Kentucky. The town's firehouse was our residence for the week, and each night, after work, there was a different guest from the area who would join us for dinner and conversation into the evening. There were a few folk artists who sang and played their instruments. There was a coal miner. There was a storyteller. There was also Dianne, Dianne's mayor, who was then running for state senate. It was really a gift to hear Dianne's story about her trek through life. Dianne had always lived near Dianne, Kentucky, and by the time other people would have been graduating from high school, Dianne was already married for 2 years and had 2 children. Despite the daily financial struggle, she felt that her simple life was a good one. One particular summer, the truck traffic rolling past her home had increased significantly. An old mine up the mountain had been turned into a garbage dump. Over the next 6 months, Dianne and her friends experienced some very serious problems downstream from this dump. Trees and vegetation were dying off, fish and other wildlife were thinning out and being found dead, and there was also a very sharp increase in illnesses, some of which resulted in a lot of people being sent to the bigger hospital in Lexington. A few years earlier, residents of Dianne had tried really hard to fight mountaintop removal mining. The poverty and lack of education in the area seemed no match against the power of the coal companies, though, and Dianne lost each time they tried to fight the impact of this mining. They just assumed that they would once again be powerless to fight this garbage dump. This time the impact was different for Dianne, though. Things were dying and people were getting sick. She ranted in front of her kids one day that she just wanted to stand in front of the trucks and not let them pass on the road and go to the dump. Her son spray painted "No more trucks" on a board, and he gave it to her, and he said, "Stand in the road with it." So she did. During the argument with that first truck driver, who said he was just doing his job, Dianne pointed to her children in the yard and said, "Your job threatens my kids. Go work somewhere else." He backed his truck down the long winding road and caused a backup of other trucks that attracted the attention of neighbors for a few miles up and down the road. Word spread, and many of them followed Dianne's lead. After a few weeks and quite a bit of high drama with dump operators, lawyers, state police, legislators, and others, the dump was closed, and a very expensive cleanup of illegally dumped toxic waste followed. Dianne shared with us probably 7 other significant situations that developed over her next 30 years of her life in which she responded to some significant need or situation, sometimes by herself, but usually as the leader of a small group. As she told her stories, though, she returned to a common sort of refrain: "I'm just a housewife," or "I'm not smart enough. I didn't even finish high school." She always had a feeling of not being qualified to do the tasks she faced, and yet, in the stories she shared, she ended up accomplishing many very good things. When I met Dianne, she was in her 50s, and like I said, running for state senate, because people in Dianne had asked her to do it. 10 years before, during the town's mayoral election, Dianne's name was listed more than 90 times as the write-in candidate. That's a landslide election in Dianne. It seemed that she had finally gained a sense of confidence and probably didn't respond anymore by saying, "I'm just a housewife." Dianne's story is a fairly dramatic one of being called forward to respond to situations or to offer her time and talent, even when she didn't think she had something to offer. Oftentimes others can see our abilities better than we can see them ourselves.